I would like to address the tragedy that has not received nearly enough media attention, the brutal murder of Irina Zarutska.
And that is why I believe Trump is addressing it, and now this thing is going to get national attention.
Here are the facts that many outlets have shamefully and intentionally failed to report until President Trump drew attention to it. On August 22nd, Irina Zarutska was stabbed to death on the rail system in Charlotte, North Carolina by a savage career criminal. This is a public transportation system that many in the area use every single day to go to school and work. Irina was on the train that night traveling home from her job at a pizzeria, still in uniform from her shift. This beautiful, innocent 23-year-old young woman was a Ukrainian refugee who had recently fled her country for a chance at a safer life and a promising new beginning here in the United States of America. But tragically, a public transportation system in a major American city was more dangerous than the active war zone that she left. The president and the entire White House are praying for her family and friends during this unimaginably difficult time. But while we extend our thoughts and prayers, we must also seek justice for this crime and call attention to this heinous incident. Surveillance video of the killing was finally released to the public this past Friday. It shows the alleged killer, DeCarlos Brown Jr., pull out a knife, get up from his seat behind Irina, and prepare to thrust a blade into her neck before the released footage gets cut.
That you almost never hear about. And it tells us this, that if we rounded up every criminal with 3 or more prior arrests, crime would drop by 80% nationwide. Yes, 80%. And you can make this determination by looking at the percentage of new inmates in prison systems who have a prior arrest, which is virtually all of them.
And I just saw the video. I found it by accident on Twitter. And it's shocking because she didn't even know what was happening. She was looking around, what the heck happened? I'm in shock. And then she fell asleep.
This is pure evil on full display. The most enraging and unacceptable part of this story is that her death was entirely preventable. DeCarlos Brown never should have been on that train that night. In fact, he should have been behind bars. DeCarlos Brown has been charged with crimes no fewer than 14 times, dating back to 2011, including for armed robbery, felony larceny, breaking and entering, and shoplifting. Brown had previously served 5 years in prison for a robbery with a deadly weapon charge, and he had also forfeited bonds 3 different times, twice in 2014 and once in 2023. Despite all of this past documented criminal history, when Brown was arrested yet again in January of this past year, a Democrat judge, who I will add was a strong supporter of former Vice President Kamala Harris, released this insane criminal once again without requiring him to pay any bail.
Right now, millions of people are finding out that you become a magistrate judge in many states without being a licensed lawyer. Teresa Stokes never passed the bar exam, fully empowered to let repeated criminal offenders roam the street to murder innocent people. I really wish I wasn't right again, but I'm right again. She is an advocate of second chances. And you didn't even pass the license and you have this power?
Criminal once again without requiring him to pay any bail. He simply had to sign a written promise to return for his court hearing. Think about how crazy it is to ask a career criminal, someone who by definition repeatedly breaks the law, to just sign a written promise and come back again another day. This is madness. This monster should have been locked up and Irina should still be alive. But Democrat politicians, liberal judges, and weak prosecutors would rather virtue signal than lock up criminals and protect their communities.
I mean, if you don't believe me, ask CNN.
Want to be there.
Yeah, and it's
about forcing them
because
to be there.
When you are mentally ill, you have a hard time knowing that you are mentally ill. But also, I mean, people like Charlie Kirk, they've been looking for opportunities to make this some sort of like reciprocal George Floyd situation. And that's the part that I think he's almost giving away the game, and it's sad to see a lot of people going along with it.
You know, let me just say a couple of things. One is, I mean, what happened to that young woman was horrible, and it's everybody's nightmare. If you're in any public space, a subway, whatever, that something bad's going to happen to you or somebody you care about. So it does strike a chord. We don't know why that man did what he did. And for Charlie Kirk to say, we know he did it because she's white, when there's no evidence of that, it's just pure race mongering, hate mongering. It's wrong. Then he says that if something like that had happened the other way, there would be sweeping changes imposed on society. Where is the George Floyd Policing Act? It didn't pass. Even when you had a white police officer murder a black man on live television, the whole world saw, there were no sweeping changes. In fact, not one law was passed at the federal level.
So I believe the mayor, where this thing happened with Mr. Brown, the mayor was like, we're understaffed. Now we need to hire private security. Who's going to pay the private security? Taxpayers. But then they're saying they're putting more security, and then even the citizens are saying, I don't see the security. Only in the morning, when usually this might happen at night.
We rode the light rail Friday around noon, starting at the east-west station near where the stabbing happened, and went round trip for about 20 stops. We did not see a single security officer.
Remember to subscribe.
So I think that's an important thing to point out. The other thing is, you mentioned the thing about cashless bail. I think this is a big challenge that we have. Would you have felt better if there had been cash bail and the mom had come and put down $1,000 to let him out? It's not about cashless bail or no cashless bail. It's about the fact that we don't know how to deal with people who are hurting in the way this man was hurting. Hurt people hurt people. What happened was horrible, but it becomes an opportunity for people to jump on bandwagons. And then for someone like Charlie Kirk, he should be ashamed of himself. No one mentioned the word race, white, black, or anything except him. What people mention is the horror of what happened to this young woman.
This guy is so freaking dishonest. The amount of time I hear race from CNN, and then you're like, yo, we're not talking about race. I'm like, what? The only reason I'm talking about this is because I can see how much you talk about Brown and not about the lady.
We don't know why that man did what he did. We don't know how to deal with people who were hurting in the way this man was hurting. Hurt people hurt people. What happened was horrible. No one mentioned the word race, white, black, or anything except him.
The idea that he says there was no mentioning, no, I watched the video. He mentioned, I got the white girl. It's a race issue.
And perhaps rather virtue signal than lock up criminals and protect their communities. And perhaps most shamefully of all, the majority of the media, many outlets in this room, decided that her murder was not worth reporting on originally because it does not fit a preferred narrative. Many of the journalists in this room spilled plenty of ink trying to smear Daniel Penny for defending a subway car from a deranged lunatic in New York City, but none of those same reporters lift a finger to write stories about an actual murderer. Here's the truth that every American must know. Too many innocent people across the country continue to pay the price of the failed experiment known as cashless bail that has been championed by the Democrat Party for years.
I understand their incentives, but long term, I don't think you would not incentivize people to do certain things.
Now I got a question for y'all. Do you guys believe that if this man right here happened to be in this light rail right there, if he was in this cart right here with this young lady, do you believe that the series of events that happened on this evening would have taken place? Now, I believe that at the very least, he would have done all he could to save the girl, right? Everything he could after she was attacked by this monster. But at the very best, this man right here, or a man just like him, would have seen this situation and acted accordingly, i.e. restrain the man until necessary.
I believe if he saw that man that might have challenged him, there might be a lower probability that he would have done something.
So here's the thing. When you give men like this possible 15-year sentences for protecting women like this, who do you think you incentivize? And of course, when you are a DEI hired judge who lets this guy go after 14 convictions, separate arrests, mind you, who do you think gets incentivized there? Right? This guy is getting upwards to 15 years for protecting women like her, while this guy gets to essentially commit 14 different crimes where he was actually caught, spends 5 years in prison, and because he writes a nice little cute letter to...
Ladies and gentlemen, he's not the only black person unlike me that's calling this out.
Some of y'all need to be hunted down and beat. Y'all making up these weird ass excuses talking about mental health played an important part. So fucking what? He need to be under the jail. His ass still need to chill. What the fuck does that mean? Knock it the fuck off. He wasn't that crazy. It was other men on that goddamn bus. There were males. His ass ain't pull that shit with a man. He pulled it with a woman. His ass wasn't that goddamn crazy. His ass seen a victim. He seen an easy one, an easy kill, and he took it. Y'all talking about some goddamn mental health. Everybody ain't just mentally off. A lot of these motherfuckers are demons. And y'all keep giving them excuses. That man was a demon. That's it, that's all. Y'all talking about mental health. So goddamn what? Weird as hell.
I mean, if you have to be honest, most people that are in prison, they are experiencing something mental healthy. Something. So by that standard, if anybody can say that, just say I have mental health issue, and everybody has to wait, stop. Let's evaluate the situation. I get your point. It means some people do have issues. But the idea that almost everybody has issue, and you have cash bills and all the stuff at certain places, and the moment you want to call this out, you defend it?
Absolutely. One of the discussions that we've had earlier this week is that one of the failures that we have is that we have not figured out how to actually provide that kind of care. That, if someone is actually seriously mentally ill, maybe on the verge of violence, where do they go?
We're unwilling
Except
to
on the
put
street.
in North Carolina, not on the verge of violence, actually demonstrated violence in the past and nobody flagged it. Actually, the police, to your point, said, we're going to refer you to more resources, and that went nowhere. So there were multiple...
Nobody flagged it. He served time for his violent offenses.
Not for his schizophrenia.
Why?
That's not a
crime. That's not a crime.
No, I know, but I'm saying that was compounding this entire issue.
Yeah,
the fact that he lashed out violently on that
I know,
train.
I'm just saying, he did actually serve time for the violent offenses that he committed.
But he was a career criminal, a repeat offender who was let back onto our streets despite a really bad criminal record that suggests he should have been locked away for life because he was threatening the public. He was a menace to society.
He should have been locked away for life for what now?
He should have schizophrenia.
You want him to...
You actually said that. I can't believe you actually said that. Somebody should be locked away in jail forever for schizophrenia.
Isolated.
Did you really say that?
Isolated.
Did you really say that?
In an institution.
Is this actually...
Institutionalized.
And that's why it's very hard to speak to certain people on the left. You can say one wrong word. What did you say? I can escape that. I can say I'm from Curacao. I speak 4 languages. I get confused. Then they're like, oh, okay, I need to. But why did you say? Well, I meant isolation. But she's a white woman. She will never get that break.
What you're saying is that this man should have been roaming the streets.
I'm saying
is
that you
your
don't lock
position?
people in prison for schizophrenia.
An institution.
What kind of institutions? Institutions in terms of mental health care services?
Yes.
If you're talking about providing full wraparound services for people, I understand that. But at some point, people do get out when they have been treated and rehabilitated.
Sure, but that didn't happen here. He didn't go to an institution at all.
But you're
and
advocating...
so he stabbed a woman and said he should be locked away for life.
There's thousands and thousands of people in America, more than, tens, hundreds of thousands who have been diagnosed with schizophrenia that are walking around and that are leading fairly normal lives because they are under treatment.
A lot of people
are we going to lock up everybody with schizophrenia for life?
If you have mental issues, I don't care. But if you do robberies with mental issue and sometimes you have a weapon, well, at least we need to take out the part of the weapon. But if it happened 14 times, what the heck are you doing outside? Like, bruh, oh man, this pisses me off so much. The Jesus poster, 2020, Black Lives Matter. 2025, White Lives Matter. Same play, different color. Nobody cares about the dead unless they can use them as a political hockey puck for engagement and checks. George Floyd was a political puck. Irina Zarutska was a political puck. That might be true. But the difference is I can avoid George Floyd. I can avoid Mr. Brown. He is riding the same light train just behind me. And the idea that certain people can help this lady, and then I'm Daniel Penny and I might get arrested and get 15 years, is a way different political game.
She was slaughtered by a deranged monster who was roaming free after 14 prior arrests. We cannot allow a depraved criminal element of violent repeat offenders to continue spreading destruction and death throughout our country. We have to respond with force and strength. We have to be vicious just like they are. It's the only thing they understand. 24 of the top 25 most dangerous cities in America are run by Democrat mayors.
And Matt Walsh did a very unique suggestion.
Look, I've been making this point for a long time. As a society, we have two choices. Okay, only two. Either we are going to inflict severe, merciless suffering on the criminals, the violent degenerates, the sociopathic predators, the dysfunctional, the barbaric, or we're going to allow severe, merciless suffering to be inflicted on the innocent. The women sitting on the train after work, the pedestrians walking their dogs in the park, the Uber drivers, the gas station clerks, and so on.
Like, we don't want to give people the highest of crime just because they pointed a gun without the thing happen. But something has to happen that they are very afraid to even point the gun before it might happen.
One group or the other is going to be made to feel immense suffering. One group or the other is going to be met with brutality and violence. There's no third option, at least not for us. So we are left with the two options I just outlined. Severe, brutal, ugly punishment of the guilty, or severe, brutal, ugly punishment of the innocent. Either the former or the latter. To choose neither, to refuse to choose, is to choose the latter. It is to say that it is worth it for the innocent to suffer so that the guilty don't have to.
That quote alone makes me very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. I don't want to live in a city that suggestion might work because the other person that has a bad day might have more good days.
And that's the answer that our system has decided on. It's decided that it's better for 1 million innocent women on the train to be butchered in broad daylight than for one violent criminal to be severely punished. And even worse, the people who give this answer have the nerve to call it compassion. It is not compassion. It is callousness in the extreme. It is monstrous cruelty.
I think I've shown enough for today. I ain't happy with the result. And I don't want to cover this. But I can't believe I keep finding clips of people defending this.
Don't get me wrong, makosa kita bong. Put the fire na mi blonde kush hash purple skunk criollo colombici jam jam. Durlo que ta verdetta welcome.